Hey, we got a special live edition here at Right Field. I'm here with my buddy Bez from Onside Sports Net. We're going to have some guests for you. We're going to talk some White Sox baseball during the series finale here for the home game on the White Sox home slate. Like talk about.
You are Locked On White Sox, your daily Chicago White Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, I'm your host, Todd Welter, lifelong Sox fan, contributor for SouthsideShowdown.com for the FanDuel Network. I'm actually joined today by Bez, my buddy Bez, who I always butcher your name. So if you want to actually just say it for the actual audience, because you actually have a full name.
I do, and it is Besnik Zekiri, but everybody calls me Bez, and you guys can call me Bez as well. And we're here in the lodge at Guaranteed Rate Field. Excuse me, Rate Field. What are we doing here, Todd?
Well, we're here. We're going to be talking with some White Sox personalities. We've got Connor McKnight coming up in a few minutes, and then we're also going to have Mike Downey, the director of promotions here, because actually he hit it out of the ballpark. I actually do want to talk to him about that because, talking about what it's like to promote a last place team, a team with hope. So we're going to talk about that. And we're just going to talk White Sox baseball. We've got some other fellow podcasters here that hopefully we'll try to shake them down to film. We're going to be here for like an hour. We are going to talk White Sox baseball.
We're going to talk a lot about White Sox baseball and wrap up the home season here. And hopefully we get a couple of these other guys from other podcasts that I'm sure you all know well and just chat it up. So come hang out with us. Todd and I will be here for a while.
Yeah, and the Bear game doesn't start till
3. Till 3, yeah.
Why not come down to the ballpark now? The thing that I want to talk about right now is last night. They lose again. They now got to go 5-2 over the final 7 games. It seems like we are on a collision course for another 100-loss season.
It's looking that way. The hope of dodging 100 losses is looking grim. We've got to win today, and then we got to take 2 out of 3 in New York and 2 out of 3 against the Nationals. So it's we're hanging on by a thread. It would be cool to dodge 100 losses, and I've thought about that, and just to be able to say that we haven't lost 100 losses 3 seasons in a row. But the other thing is we kind of know what this team is at this point, and whether they get 100 or whether it's 99 or 101 doesn't really matter as much, but what matters is going forward, and we know what this team needs and needs to do to improve and what they need to kind of fill the gaps in the roster.
Yeah, and the thing is, I've kept saying, wins and losses, they don't matter. I know you everydayers are probably tired of hearing me say it, but it's one of those things where as long as they have this young core emerge, that's all that I care about. I knew they were going to lose a lot of games. I just didn't want to lose 110 games. I didn't want to lose 115 games. And the only thing that this matters of losing potentially another 100 games it's for the 3rd straight season, and that's never happened in franchise history.
No, I mean back-to-back 100 losses have never happened in franchise history, so let's not make it 3 in a row. This has been the roughest stretch in franchise history in 125 years. I think we're all thirsty for them to do and see the arrow moving up, and I think it is. It looks like we're trending in the right direction. There's a foundation in place of some good young players. There's some more coming up through the minor league pipeline. And then it's just a matter of adding the remaining pieces. It's going to take a while, though. It's going to take a while. So, unfortunately, I hate to tell any White Sox fan to be patient. I'm sick of being patient. I want to see a winner. I'm dying to see another playoff game. If you were here for Game 3 in 2021, this place was absolutely electric. So the fan base is starved for it. And hopefully our patience pays off, and we'll be talking about the future and going forward with Connor McKnight when he joins us here in a little bit.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I actually did Friday's show. You actually were the inspiration behind the first segment.
Okay.
When you did the tweet of, I don't know if this can stagnate or stay, can keep progressing. Your fear was stagnation. So I actually proposed a few things about how you can avoid stagnation. Number one is let's focus on actually getting better. The one thing I never heard during the last rebuild was, hey, we're working on these guys getting better, but that's because a lot of these guys got paid and then just rumorly stopped working. So one of the things that I think can happen is let's focus on the development. Number two is actually make the signings. And you and I were talking about that hey, the payroll can be 100, 200 million, but are you signing a superstar? Or are you going bargain bin to complete your rebuild?
Right. And we've seen the White Sox send out 100 million, 190 million, 200 plus million payroll. But you've got to be able to spend that in the right places, bring in the right veterans, have the right mix of chemistry with the young players, and show them how to grow and develop and be pros when they get to the big leagues. Like you said, it never seemed to materialize in that way in the last rebuild. So hopefully they bring in some veterans to kind of nurse this thing along. I think you saw a little bit of that this year with like Mike Tauchman, Martin Perez. Both of those guys have been heralded for, going out there every day and showing these guys what it's like to be a pro.
All right, so I'm also going to be posting on this show. Tom, appreciate you being an everydayer. He says Jerry sells the team, the top talent, and not much of change. One thing we do have to make clear is Jerry is selling the team. It's going to take a while, but it's being sold. I mean, that I think is a big thing too, where I'm going to be monitoring more in the offseason, 2027, 2028, because what I'd like to see too, how you can avoid stagnation is, are you starting to involve Justin Ishbia's billions? But you once told me on a previous show, like, it's still a long ways away.
I am setting my expectations for this sale to occur, next decade, and that's just me. You can fan how you want to and see this thing through, but the nature of the deal and the succession plan, tells us that something's not going to happen until 2029, when also the lease of the ballpark here ends. So there's going to be a lot of interesting things to come forward. And
now we got Sean Anderson, former host of the show.
Yeah.
We're live.
No, we got to turn this way.
Turn it.
No. Todd will take care of it. Little technical difficulties, folks. We don't have Justin Ishbia money here at Locked On, but Sean says hello for you.
Sean, you want to
listeners.
join us for a few minutes?
Come on in, Sean.
I want to join for a second just to say that I'm so deeply, deeply apologetic. I have Shriffen joining me, but I'm so sorry to all your live viewers.
Yeah, he's got John Shriffen coming up on the show. The other thing is again, we can all play nice in the same box.
Yeah.
And it's awesome that, Sean has gone on to host CHGO White Sox. Now, getting back to your point about this is live. This is also a pilot thing that the White Sox are doing. And that's the other thing that I want to get into is I think this is really neat that the White Sox are actually embracing these fan movements, because one of the things that you can do is kids can play again to get people on board. You can do, grinder rules. But sometimes that. So why don't you do this, especially with generations? Why don't you build a fan community and embrace the fan community?
Absolutely. There are a ton of blogs. There are a ton of podcasts, as evident by, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them here, right here and now. We're the ones delivering content to fans every single day outside of the mainstream media. We're dedicated, passionate fans. So let's bring our viewers along on the journey and be closer to the team. I got John Shriffen sitting across from me right now talking to Sean at CHGO. So this is really cool, and I think CHSN has done a really cool job on Friday night home games, and the all-access setup that they've had has kind of, to me, made the home games on Friday games feel kind of a little special.
Yeah, I really actually enjoy that broadcast. I think that's, getting us content. Also, I just like how the production, like, for example, what they've been doing with, like, Brooke Fletcher or Connor McKnight, who will be joining us shortly. They actually talk to the starting pitcher after they're done.
Yeah.
And getting you that access.
Absolutely.
I think that's the thing, give us an access, give us that behind the scenes, and that way let's see how this thing is built. Because one of the things that I think happened in the last rebuild too is just like, we got all these exciting players. Here they are. Right. And it's like, okay, what are you doing to get them better?
It was almost, at this point, and, maybe it's, I'm forgetting some details because it's been a while, but it almost seemed like, hey, we traded all of our best players. We got these awesome prospects. We've got some high draft picks, and then did nothing else differently and just operated the same way. Sure, they had talented players, but they never had a great team or I mean, 2021, with all due respect, the pitching staff was amazing. They kind of stagnated there in the second half, but hopefully, it seems like the trust gap is starting to close a little bit, and that's something I want to ask Connor about, because he's interacting with fans and being on the field every single day for the home games. So it'll be interesting to hear what he says about that. But that's kind of my feeling.
So I think closing the trust gap, because one of the reasons why you and I became friends was I actually liked watching what you had on X, and kind of the cynicism, but the guarded optimism. You and I have talked about that. I think this is another way that you close that gap, because Jerry is always going to be here at least for 3 years. And there's nothing we can do about it. There is things that we're seeing right now that the White Sox are doing behind the scenes to maybe lessen the scrutiny.
Right.
And there's not going to be when we actually see a 90-win season, you can scrutinize them, but they're making it a way where you can be objectionable and not be like, oh, I can't believe it. Well, Connor's going to be joining us, so let's take a quick break. We'll have Connor McKnight after the break.
Okay.
This episode is brought to you by Zippix Toothpicks. Whether you're looking for nicotine satisfaction or an energy boost, Zippix has you covered with their nicotine and caffeine-infused toothpicks. For nicotine users, Zippix provides a discreet way to satisfy cravings and a hand-to-mouth habit without vaping or smoking. Zippix can be a helpful tool as you work to reduce your dependence on vaping. Available in 6 great flavors with 2 milligram and 3 milligram nicotine options. And if you need energy without the crash, their caffeine toothpicks are a game changer. And I know I need to cut down on my coffee and pop intake, so you best believe I'm going to give the caffeine toothpicks a try. Go to zippixtoothpicks.com. Use code LOCKEDON for 10% off your first order. Must be 21 or older. Warning, nicotine is an addictive chemical. That's zippixtoothpicks.com. Promo code LOCKEDON. Zip more, smoke less with Zippix toothpicks.
And that you have to get through.
We're back here live at right field. Todd Welter, Besnik Zekiri, and then I got Connor McKnight. So we're all getting tight end.
Let's get cozy.
Yeah.
This is live producing here on the air.
This is live producing here on the air.
We're gonna shift the camera.
Yep.
See the coffee cup?
There we go.
This is a Keurig. This is the Keurig brew from Lennon DJ's booth. I stole it from.
Nice.
I
nice.
hope.
I'm
coffee.
This is so. I live in Wicker Park.
okay.
There's a Phil's down there,
Okay.
and I'm like, they do all kinds of different stuff. It's all very good. There's better coffee shops. Not to disparage anyone, but it was my turn to buy Keurigs for Lennon DJ's Keurig machine in the radio booth, which is where I kind of get the morning coffee. And I was in there with my daughter. I was in Phil's, not the radio booth, with my daughter.
Yeah.
And she likes the pink frosted donut that they've got there.
Yeah.
And I turned to my right, and on the table there's this big, bucket of Keurig cups. I'll be darned. I had no idea. So I scooped those up, brought them in. So it's the Phil's Keurigs.
Just meant to be.
Yeah.
Just meant to be.
Yes.
So what is it with daughters and pink donuts? Because my daughter's the same way. She sees pink.
How old is your daughter?
8.
Okay. All right. Well, so she's probably, when she was 2.5, did she do the thing where she just eats the frosting off the top of the donut
at 8 years old.
and then hands me the donut
Yeah.
and goes, I don't want the rest of this? And it's like, but it's a whole donut. Why aren't you eating it?
Yeah.
And then it's 2 hours later after the park, and she's like, I want the rest of my donut. And then you give her the donut. She's like, there's no frosting on this.
Yeah.
And you go, I wonder why.
Yeah.
I wonder why there's no frosting on this.
All 3 of my kids do the same thing. I've got 4-year-old twin boys and a 6-year-old daughter.
Oh, God
and
bless.
they do the exact same thing. All 3 of them.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best.
It is the best.
It also makes me want to scream, but it's the best.
All right, so one of the reasons why you're down here is to talk about, the future of the team. I like how that you're giving us the farm reports on CHSN. They're really good. So who has impressed you the most, though, among the rookies?
The rookies that have made it up here so far. I think I'd have to say Kyle Teal, because I think, we talk about it a lot, and I know you guys do too, but the burden that is on a catcher is so much more than it even looks like when they're getting baseballs fouled off their body in every night. Like, it's so hard. You got to call every pitch. You got to learn every pitcher. You got to understand what's coming next. You got to read hitters. So I give that extra. Like, if I had an MVP vote, I don't. But if I had an MVP vote, I would give it to Cal Raleigh, and I wouldn't think twice about it.
Sure.
Because of those things. I think it's Kyle, because not only has he, kind of gotten better on the catching side, and there's still work to do. I think he'd be the first to tell you that. But he had been asked early on, and we've talked about it on air. He'd been asked early on by some of the hitting coaches to get a little bit more aggressive early in counts. I think if you remember, he came up before that Braves series in Atlanta. There's a lot of first pitch fastballs, and he's kind of taking it not like down the, but good spots to hit.
Right.
And he's being a little more passive. And he had been asked to go after those a little bit more. And sure enough, in Atlanta, there's like a first pitch fastball, and he's taking that sucker like 440 to right field. Right.
Yeah,
And that's
right.
It's that kind of adjustment and that kind of willingness to get into that A swing that I think has been really impressive from a hitting side for him.
Yeah.
So I would say Kyle Teal, though I'll be honest, guys, like, and I think you've talked about it too. I listen enough to know the developments from a lot of these rookies everybody's got a meaningful story. Like there's a lot of guys you could argue for in this category.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
really. And then like with Teal, I like that you brought up. Does it seem to me that also like him and Carroll really were more like, hey, let's stick to our hit profile first to ease in because they have to take care of all the other stuff. Are we going to start to see that power profile probably next year as they get more comfortable?
I think, I've talked with Steve Stone about this a lot and DJ too. I think catchers naturally age into power if they've got it, right? And then if their knees go like Brian McCann, then you stop hitting for power. And then you do whatever Brian McCann did, then you get your power back. I don't know what he did. But great for him.
Yeah.
I think you just get there. I think it's really easy. Here's what it is. I think it's really easy to kind of forget, not that you guys have, that one's 23 and one's 22.
I was just going to say.
And I don't know that many dudes who have so much plate control in their profile and are that young and play as demanding a position that go 25 dingers in their first season, right? And these guys didn't have enough playing time between the two of them, really, as Carroll kind of, to get you 20 homers. I think they get there. I'm okay, and I know the front office is, and the coaching staff is okay with them making sure that plate control kind of thing comes first for a little while, because I think that sets the floor. I think that sets your floor of production.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because you made a great point. I don't know if this is still the case because I checked this earlier in the season, but Edgar Quero was the 5th youngest player in all of baseball.
I believe, yeah.
That's the one thing to keep in mind is there's so much more room to grow into that power. And you don't even get your old man strength until like 27, 28.
You got to have a 2.5-year-old, I think. And Edgar does, actually. So maybe he's got some of it now. But the other thing, too, let's not forget, especially in Edgar Quero's case, I think it's a great point you bring up. He was pushed really aggressively by the Angels in the minor leagues prior to him even getting with the White Sox. And he played, I think it was 5.5 years below the league average age his first time up at AA when he was at Anaheim or Los Angeles, whatever they're. And to me, that matters a lot. It just
absolutely.
does. He's younger than it looks.
Right.
Now, I've been hearing a lot about the offseason. They want to improve defensively. They want to improve some of that stuff. But if I've just been missing, should they also be trying to improve power-wise? Maybe bringing in some guys for power is how this ballpark hits, or should be, hey, let's be a more versatile offense. I mean, where do you think this team should go?
I think you kind of have to split the answer up a little bit here. We got to be a little bit dichotomous about it, because when you talk about wanting to be better defensively, I think that's an always thing for the White Sox at this point. Whether it's you talk to Chris Getz and definitely Will Venable, this is a defense-first mindset. That, again, sets a floor.
Yeah.
And I don't think, regardless of who you bring in, unless you're bringing in, like Kyle Schwarber, you're still asking that veteran to come in and be better defensively. I think that's what this team wants to do regardless. So for a guy like Chase Mydroth and even Colson Montgomery, who really impressed with their defense, they still want more of it. I think with a guy like Vargas, Meade, you're looking for a little bit more side to side, right? A little bit more left and right versatility there. And I think with the outfield, it's gonna be really interesting to see where they go. I think they also want power, right? I think the way you score in today's game, whether you like it or not, it's a couple of walks and a homer. I mean, it's kind of it's hard to string together a bunch of hits when the league batting averages. I checked it the other day, 246.
And it seems like every pitcher that's on the mound is throwing 107 and with insane movement. So it's so hard to hit.
It's so hard to hit, and it's easier to take your walks and hit homers. Not to say that that's easy, but it's easier. I think when we talk about what this front office wants going forward, it's important to remember that this is, at the end of the day, going to be a team that hopefully wins 63 games, right? And it still needs all of the things. And I think when it comes to, bringing in those outside skill sets, it is all of it. You do want all of it. And I know that's a little bit of a cop-out answer, but I think you have to remember what this front office wants to, where it wants to go. Right?
And it seems like that is kind of a difference between the last rebuild and this rebuild. It's like it's a multifaceted approach, like building a foundation. You talked about plate discipline. You're talking about defense. You're talking about a lot of improving in a lot of different areas. It seems like there's a different focus on those things that, and maybe this is recency bias, maybe not, but it seems like that is one change that, fans can look at who say like, okay, we've seen this, been here before, but that's one thing you can look at to say, this is kind of different.
I think you're right. And I think the way I kind of look at it is the last rebuild was one that for what it did and didn't do, it was one that tried to identify star players that had warts, that signed them to extensions and trusted stars to be stars, right? And you guys know who I'm talking. I mean, these are the guys that got the extensions, right? None of them were perfect players, save for the promise of Luis Robert, to a certain degree, right? But obviously injuries are injuries. This rebuild is trying to, I think, be a little bit more holistic about things. Not that they only want perfectly well-rounded players, but they want more well-rounded players. You know what I mean? And I think, again, that's talking about raising the level of floor. That's raising your production throughout all different spots, as opposed to having a rebuild that very clearly has warts in some places at key positions and having to find a way to paper over those with an extension of bullpen assets that hopefully get strikeouts. But if you don't have a lead, what is that bullpen doing for you, right, at the end of the day?
Exactly.
Yeah. I like what you're saying, raise floor, because it's actually easier to get those raised floor guys. And then if you got it, and some of those guys can turn out to be superstars. You talking about Brady Montgomery eventually. I think he'll be a superstar. Yeah, Teal, we just talked about it. Shane Smith, all that stuff. But you can also then go out and acquire that superstar if you also build up your farm system, because you can do it via trade. I think everybody's talking so much about spend, but it's like, you can trade guys too.
You really can. You look at, whether it's the Guardians, not that they made necessarily exceptional offensive trades in the last little bit, but they dealt Josh Naylor. They got back the same kind of production from Kyle Manzardo, save for the stolen bases. Who would have thought? Right. And have produced enough pitching to get themselves back. I mean, as we're talking, Cleveland's making this run, right? The Brewers kind of do something similarly. I think that is kind of the avenue here. And let's not forget, like, who knows where this draft lottery is going to end you up, but if you're looking at a choice between Justin LeBron and Rock Chalowski with the top pick or the second pick, those are really good prospects. Yeah. I do Big Ten baseball. I got a chance to see a little bit of Rock Chalowski, the shortstop at UCLA. It is special, and it just is.
Even like spot checking. I only watched Justin LeBron during the SEC tournament.
Sure.
But even though he only had a few walks, that's where I got really scout guys.
Of course. But
that body type, it's like he's twitchy. It's like that's a guy that, and I know they got shortstop Billy Carlson. But
there's no such thing as too many shortstops in a system. It doesn't exist.
Move to center field.
100%.
That's where
1,000%.
And you said I just got goosebumps on that. Like with this, I'm like, just finish in the top three. I like to finish in the top.
I get that. Listen, it was right and just for White Sox fans to go, oh my God, we can't pick any higher than 10th. What a after the year we had.
Right.
Might have been an okay year to pick 10. Yeah. It might be a better year to pick top 3 next year or in 26,
Really need those lottery balls to fall in our favor.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
That would really move the needle there.
Yeah, it really would.
Right, so I know we only got you for a few more minutes because you got. How are you transitioning to television from radio? Because you did a great job in the pregame, like I said.
Thank you.
Your work.
Thank you.
And you're doing a great job, especially with the down on the farm report, adding in numbers, data, that type of stuff. How are you enjoying transitioning to the television role?
It's been awesome. It's been really awesome. Our producer is Chris Withers, and that's a name that every baseball fan, every White Sox fan really ought to know because he makes the magic every single game that you watch. All the really good, well-researched stuff, that's Chris, and it has been for a lot of years. He's awesome. And I think the other thing, too, that's really helped me is Brooke. She is a stone-cold pro at what she does. Her research is unparalleled. The enthusiasm that she shows up into the clubhouse with is really something else. And I'd be lying to you if I told you that my approach in May, April, and probably into June, but don't tell them, was just basically do what Brooke does and try and do that same thing. She's incredible.
That's fantastic.
And having having those mentors to work with going into a new thing. Yeah, I know the team and I know baseball and I know how to broadcast to a certain point. Like, this is just better. Getting people that do this and pros that can teach you how along the way. I can't say enough amazing things about everybody in the truck with Chris and Brooke specifically.
And I was talking to Todd about this before you joined us. You guys have done a great job with the Friday night broadcast.
Thanks.
Like the all access really makes the Friday game feel kind of special.
Yeah.
Like even though, the record is the record,
Yep.
They've been playing good, they've been playing bad. It's just like, I don't care. I want to watch the Friday game.
You know what the idea kind of there was? I mean, again, that's Chris Withers. That's his idea. He's been pushing for this for years, and John's told you about that on the broadcast. But the Island game, right? You get Monday Night Football. You get Sunday,
Yes.
this kind of idea. We don't get that in baseball. So you kind of have to. It's a peninsula game, right? It's an isthmus game. It's its own kind of thing, and we want to give that to White Sox fans. So we figured Chris figured this is a way to create it and do something special and something different. And I know early on, I think I was reading it was Aaron Gleeman who writes for the Twins or something like that. He was a Twins fan watching the Friday night game, going, "Oh my God, are they doing this every inning?" Thinking this is our. It's like, yeah, dude, we can do this all night long. We'll bring you this all night. We ain't gonna run out of stuff. This is what we do on Friday nights, and it's a ton of fun.
We were talking about doing something like this. I think this is a great way that the White Sox to actually kind of tear down the scrutiny. Because you've seen it. Fans kind of get a little scrutiny about how the rebuild collapsed the first time.
This is a team that won 41 games last year. It's okay to be upset with where things were. No doubt about it.
Absolutely.
I get it. Sorry, I cut you off.
No,
I
it's
just mean, I feel it.
But this is a great way to, kind of be like scrutiny because again, my fan base keeps pointing out to me, Jerry Reinsdorf. It's like, okay, I get it. But at the end of the day, all you can set the payroll, but there's other people now starting to work to build this franchise back up from after losing 41 games, after realizing, you know what, we can try a lot of new cool stuff, whether it's the broadcast, whether it's bringing in Ryan Ford to be the director.
Yeah, man.
One of the things I would love to see is, maybe a director of fielding, to produce.
Love it.
That's
Love it.
They're experimenting and they're finding ways to build up from this abyss. That type of thing. That's the thing.
I think the best thing I can tell you here is, I've been prospect focused for a lot of, I've always loved the whole, minor league development and prospect dev stuff since I'm a kid. And the way I talk about prospects with people in this organization is so different than it used to be. Just the conversations you have and the stuff you talk about and the in-depth that you get from a guy like Paul Yanish that we do on Road to the Raid, our show, it's really different. And that's a lot of fun. It just truly has been a lot of fun to see the changes that are going on from a bedrock standpoint with this team.
And for me, my optimism is still a little guarded, but I also feel like the trust gap is starting to close, at least for me, myself personally. And you're on the field, you're interacting with fans. Do you kind of feel the same way, like the trust gap is starting to close between the fans and the org?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. And I think, listen, first and foremost, we're Chicagoans, so I think our optimism is always guarded. I think we get born with a beef in one hand and guarded optimism in the other. I think that's just how that works for us. I get it. It's that's how it works.
Yeah.
And I think that's completely fair. And I truly believe that whether it's Friday Night All Access or the other stuff that Brooke and I have been doing with our sideline reports, we have really checked ourselves. She and I, don't blow smoke. Don't get out there blowing smoke. Try and bring what's really happening. Try and bring the actual stories from these guys. And I think to answer your question, it's been really easy this year to not have to blow smoke. There is no smoke machine. We haven't had to do that. And I think that answers your question, right? When we don't feel like we have to do whatever, then what we're bringing you is the real actual developments of this ball club, or this front office, and all that stuff. And it's been a lot of fun to tell those stories.
All right, it's 2027. Who's the top prospect for the White Sox? I want to talk to you a bit about prospects. Is it Billy Carlson? Is it Caleb Bonemer? Is it James Fauske? I mean, who's going to be the top dog? And the reason why I bring it up is I know MLB.com had an article about, they're thinking it was Billy Carlson, but I'm like, wait a minute. There's some other guys on there.
Yeah, there really are. I'll go back to the draft optimism for this coming year. I mean, they land one of the top 3 picks, and I think there's every possibility. And that's not to downplay any of the guys you mentioned, because there are some really interesting dudes in there. Rock Chalowski and Justin LeBron are legit dudes. I mean, they are legit dudes. Yeah. So let's put that out there. However, I have been so fascinated watching Caleb Bonnemer's season this year. And I think by 2027, you're looking at a guy like Braden Montgomery probably playing in pinstripes, just over here across the way. Let's put the money on Caleb Bonnemer at this point because he played shortstop at 19. And I know he's a little stiff of an athlete, right? But because he's got that quick twitch, that swing looks stiffer than I think his defense does. So we look at one and kind of go, oh, well, he then must be, a little bit boxy at short. I haven't seen that, If he keeps shortstop under the profile into 2027, I would be surprised if Caleb Bonnemer is not really, competing for that top prospect role. I've been really impressed.
What I like about Caleb, too, is good draft process. They
Yes.
take Hagen Smith.
Yes.
And I know there's some, with that, the ceiling, especially.
Check with your own Baseball Reference page. Go ahead. Feel free. Yeah, listen, Connor Griffin's a great young player, too. Is he at AA yet? He'll get there.
Yeah, and that Hagen Smith, and I'm not out on Hagen Smith by any means because he dominated AA, but it was great?
Yeah.
They go back and get another high-school prep prospect.
Right.
I think sometimes when people say about the process of that draft, it's like, well, that's what you do with your second round pick. You go back and you find like a high school guy in there.
Yes.
And it's a good process. And that's the other thing why I'm hopeful. They're following a good draft process.
And I think Mike Shirley has been one of the dudes out in front on that. He talks about the way next time you guys have him on, he talks about high school prospects like with a love that you didn't know a man could have for a certain type of prospect. It's a thing. And I think it's because of the raw clay of that kind of a player, right? The idea that you can kind of shape and go and make and create here with the athleticism that they're trying to find in these guys. I think that's absolutely a fair point.
Yeah, that's we want to see him get here. It's getting a guy like Grant Taylor in the second round. You know what I mean? And that's the other thing is like you still have high picks in the next round, in the third round.
Yeah.
So like you can still get quality players depending on like the depth of the draft. And I like that, if you miss in the first round, you've got some guys that you can lean on in the later rounds that can still turn into something.
Yeah, and we'll see what this next draft looks like. Obviously, we got a ways to go until we get there, but it looks like there's some quality players, and like you said, an approach that is a little bit more top to bottom than perhaps just trying to shoot your shot at one guy.
Well, the other thing that I was going to ask you, because I know you're a numbers guy too.
Try and be.
What's your favorite stat of all of these youngsters? The rookies, Milo. What's the one number that's jumped out to you?
From like that a player has produced?
Yeah.
Man, it's a good question and it's a difficult one. So I'm gonna spin here. This is called spinning.
Like for example, Terrell Press. I did not expect him to crush
from a prospect. Okay, yeah.
From a prospect. I didn't expect that, or even just the rookies, just because I think sometimes.
Shane Murphy's AA ERA. Murphy's AA ERA. Like, good God, I mean, and I think you talked to Bannister about it too, and we did the other day. There are spots for command and control guys, especially if they're left, and I think that's really fun to watch, right? As juiced as everybody gets about Tanner McDougal, and we should be, right? Yeah. That's something different, and it's fun.
Yeah. And the other thing is that with Shane Murphy, do you think there's even a possibility that he's going to compete for a rotation spot, or is it going to be a little bit?
Banny said so yesterday. Yeah, there is an absolute possibility that he's there. I mean, this is a team that still has Drew Thorpe in its mix, right? I mean, they believe in a particular kind of, not that I'm equating Thorpe and Murphy, of course, but this idea that you can be below the hitting speed with a great offering and still be productive as a major league pitcher. I think that matters, and I think that's something that they're not averse to developing.
Do you think Jonathan Cannon, though, has gotten passed up on the organizational feeling just because, we've talked about control guy, but a lot of this East-West stuff is just not anything special.
When he's, I think back to that series in Sacramento early in the season, when he really started to get that changeup working East-West and is fading it for strikeouts and stuff, like that's a different guy, than he had been over the last little bit. I think with sorry, it's all the coffee morning. I think with the feel he's got for a lot of different pitches, I don't think anyone should be out on Cannon. It's just kind of he needs to be in command of that East-West stuff in terms of his own stuff wise, and I think that's a difficult place to be as a right-hander.
So do you think what's the feeling from the organization about Grant Taylor? Are they still going to give him another shot in the rotation, or is it Like, we think he's a reliever and he's going to be a reliever.
I think, listen, if you want to text Chris and ask him, feel free. If I text him again, he's going to get very angry about this. No, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think the good thing about it is I think the organization is still open to a lot of things here, right? And I think what's most important is that Grant's talent and youth allows them to be open about it. You don't necessarily have to make that decision yet. And you're still not in danger of Jabba Chamberlaining him, at this point, right? I know that's a long time ago for showing our gray in the beard, right? But I mean, there's the whole thing where you get a guy back and forth and you don't know what he's doing and all this other kind of stuff. You can't overcome that, right? You can Samarja your way out of this for a little while. And also, at some point, the situation's got to get made.
Right.
I think his arm is just going to dictate what you do.
I think so too. I think so too.
I think they realize, okay, there's that quick velocity dip. Let's get him to his relief role. Let's just get him up quick as we can. And I think that's what's going to matter on there is what, will his arm allow it? If it doesn't allow it, hey, at worst, you got a Mason Miller type guy. Yeah. Then you can develop Tanner McDougal, for example, to his ceiling because, again, you would like to see some velocity. I agree with you on the command and control. That usually fits well to a starter, but in the bullpen, you definitely want to see some velocity.
No doubt. Yeah, I want high octane stuff. I mean, listen, you'd rather have the velocity than not. I think we know that at this point. But when you talk about, future spots in that rotation, there's definitely a guy in there, of your 5, and really it's 8, right? We all know that. There's a dude that fits in there. There's a guy that fits in there for 8, 12 starts and can take that kind of run.
All right, so finally, have you ever seen a team have 2 Rule 5 picks hit?
No, I don't think anybody has. And I think one of the things, I was talking to a coach the other day, and he was asked the question, who's the MVP of the 2025 White Sox? And it's kind of tough to divide this out, right? But Mike Vassal's name ought to be on that top 3 list. Whether he wins it or not, that's another thing. Mike, as we sit here, he has thrown more innings out of the bullpen than any other pitcher in baseball. He has the 8th best ERA of any primary reliever in baseball. I know Mike's taking some starts, but this is just his reliever ERA. And yeah, are there more walks than you'd think? Sure. Are there fewer strikeouts than you imagine? Yes. But look at his 2-seamer. It's gross.
Right.
Like, it's just disgusting. It keeps off the barrel and it keeps him alive. It's so many different spots.
Keeps the ball on the ground.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And to me, like, because of what this pitching staff was and wasn't at different points during the year, right? You dealt with Shane Smith going away and coming back. You didn't have Davis Martin for a while. Burke and Canada have been up and down. You desperately needed the 80-something, 90-something innings that Vassal's going to get you out of this bullpen, and that matters, guys. It really does, especially for a coaching staff that, has some of its sea legs, but for the most, it's a rookie manager, it's a rookie bench coach. Justin Jersley's at that, so is Jason Bourgeois from different perspectives, and Ethan Katz knows what he's doing, has for a while.
Yeah.
But my God, to lean on a guy like Vassal, that's huge.
Yeah, and he's a character. He seems like a lot of fun.
You have no idea. You have that man, Mike, is insane, and I love you. He is absolutely beautiful.
Connor, we know you got to get to the television broadcast. So we appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. Make sure get a CHSN subscription if you don't have one, or
please,
because Connor McKnight, John Triffin, they all do a great job.
Nice.
Brooke, you guys do a great job, and it is such a big thing because you guys want people that you interact with on a daily basis for White Sox. It's really nice that you guys do such good.
Appreciate you so much. Thanks for coming out here. We'll see you guys out here again next year at the Packed Up Podcast Pro.
And hope to get you on the show down the road or in the offseason.
Just reach out. We'll get to you. I'll check the Twitter messages. I promise.
Thanks.
Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5-Hour Energy Shots delivers tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. And what I love most is how portable they are. Big taste, tiny shots, and you can take it anywhere and get that boost when you need it. And I know I need to cut down my coffee and pop intake, so you best believe I'm going to be switching to 5-Hour Energy Shots because of how fast it kicks in and that it's sugar-free, so I don't have to worry about crashing later. Also, I can just quickly crack open a 5-Hour Energy Shot to get that boost rather than wait for the coffee to be made. It's all about efficiency with me. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-Hour Energy Shots. Get the favorites you love and be bold and try something new in-store and online at www.5hourenergy.com or Amazon today.
Okay.
Welcome back to Locked On White Sox. I'm your host, Todd Welter. I'm joined by Besnik Zekiri. I got it right.
You got it. You nailed it.
Of OnTap Sportsnet. Like I said, I'm going to be here. We're doing on podcast row. The White Sox are trying out a pilot where they've provided a ton of White Sox podcasters. We've got the Sox on 35th guys. We got CHGO White Sox. We've got Sox. We've got Josh Nelson. We've got from the 108. But we don't have the OnTap guys. And I was like, hey, I don't want to be by myself. I needed a production crew. That's so. Then you and I got talking. I was like, you know what? I got to fill all this time. I'm going to have Bez on the show. My guy, Bez. So I really appreciate you joining me. And I appreciate you being civil with Dylan Barnabas too.
No, I like Dylan. There's no hard feelings here. Online is online, and on Twitter you go back and forth and argue with people. That's just kind of what you do. It's just banter, and it's never anything personal.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing that is. We've talked about the White Sox community. I think we've done a good job of supporting ourselves too as fans of being like, hey, it's been tough. And again, it's by choice. Think about that. There's two teams in this market. There's actually other teams in the Midwest too. Like you could actually pick any team you want, and we picked the White Sox.
Yeah. Against our better judgment, we're still here.
Yeah,
we're still here. I've been here since I was 7 years old, so they're just part of my DNA, and I'm never going to go anywhere. And I'll always be a White Sox fan, and could never consider rooting for another team. But I'm a baseball fan and love watching other games and other teams, other players. But it's always White Sox through and through.
Well, this is also this is safe space for me. I love Great Field. Like my dad used to take me here all the time when I was a kid. We had our Field of Dreams moments, taking me in White Sox sit on the third base side and that. So this is really neat for me to be back here. I haven't been here actually in 10 years.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
You haven't been to a game in 10 years?
I haven't been to a game in 10 years.
Wow. Well, I'm glad to finally to be here with you for that moment.
The funny thing is, I was going to see if my wife and daughter wanted to come too, but it was like, we're not getting up that early.
Yeah.
Out and all that.
How long was the drive?
And the funny thing is, I not hit a single piece of traffic.
Nice.
Going to the loop. I was stunned because normally, if you turn around, you see the Irving Park and 19 and all that.
Yeah.
Here's one of the stick and turn. I was flying through on that. So that's why actually I have to apologize to my dad. Leaving early for Chicago is a good thing. Because I used to be like, what? I know you were you're from Beverly and all that, so you don't have to really worry too much. But being from the northwest suburbs of Johnsburg,
yeah,
it was always something where it was like, if you even had to go to a Bears game, we gotta leave at 5:30.
Yeah.
So I was like, why do we have to leave at 5:30 for a new kickoff or for the White Sox? Why do we gotta leave at 6? Even though my dad would always get off at Ashland and take Ash all the way over because he didn't want to sit in the traffic.
That's understandable. We all love 9094. I mean, for me, I'm lucky and blessed that I'm only about 15 minutes from the park because I'm in the eastern part of Beverly, and I can just jump on 57 and be here really quick. I mean, I left my house and got here at 10, and I left right at 9:40. So I should be getting to more games than I do. I only got to about 6 or 7 this year. But
you have kids.
I have 3 kids. I have 3 little kids. I have 4-year-old twin boys and a 6-year-old daughter. And I changed jobs this summer, so there wasn't a whole lot of that. But yeah, man. I mean, I'm glad you're here. 10 years. I had no idea. It's been that long.
And the funny thing is, I was here on the 2015 10th anniversary celebration of that game.
I was there.
But the funny thing is, I was with my entire family, and half of my family was wearing Mike Moustakis' shirts because they are related to my sister. So it's a weird thing. My brother-in-law is related to Mike Moustakis' wife.
Okay.
So they were wearing their royal stuff, and they were going to try to get us down to the players' wives section, but they're doing the section you got to wear white socks.
Yeah. No, you can't go into the player section wearing a Moustakis jersey, and they were playing KC that day, right? Yeah, no, that wouldn't fly for me.
Yeah, so that is the actual connection. And actually, Mike Moustakis, I was actually disappointed he didn't make the team because he's actually a really good dude. Bought me chicken wings one time.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. When he was in Milwaukee, my brother-in-law flew out with my 2 nieces and nephew.
Yeah.
And then after the game, we went out to dinner with him. And Carson's down in Milwaukee.
Well,
and he covered the meal. I was like, wow, that's really nice.
He's got the money to do so. I would assume he's made a pretty penny in his playing career, but nevertheless, that's still a nice gesture.
Oh yeah, they fly like I see like because it's his wife again is related. It's very nice to my sister while she was going through her cancer treatments, and that so like I follow on Instagram on that. Yeah, they're always flying private. So that's a nice thing about being a player, but it's an interesting comment.
Yeah, and those. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say those teams drove me mad. Moustakas, Hosmer, all those guys. We saw Gene Watson walking around here now that he's with the White Sox, still wearing his KC championship ring. But yeah, those teams were a thorn in our side. But it's good to hear that a guy that you couldn't stand as a player is actually a really good dude in real life.
Actually, that's a good thing that you bring up, Kansas City. And one thing we were talking about losing. 2018, Rose. Yeah, 2018. If they just lose 2 games to the Royals, they end up with number 2 pick, and now we got maybe Bobby Jr. So one of the things that I'm actually fine with again too, if they haven't potentially got another collision streak with these 100 losses, you've given yourself a chance to at least. Because I want to be in the top 2 actually, not the top. I mean, the top 3. I think this next year's draft class is a little bit more deeper in terms of foundational players. Like Drew Burgess could also be a stud guy. There's a couple of high school kids too that could be absolute studs. This wasn't like in 2019 when it was basically Adley Rutschman and Bobby Witt Jr. and then who knows?
And then it was just all up in the air. I mean, I hope this is a deep draft. Man, they need those lottery balls to fall in their favor, and they're going to have the number 1 odds of getting that pick. But I'm knock on wood, and I'm not even superstitious about getting those picks, but. Hopefully, like you said, we land in the top 2. I'd still be happy with the top 3, and then you've got the top 3 pick in all the subsequent rounds, in the second round and the third round, where you can still grab good players. So it's going to be key at this point because we've seen a lot of the best prospects in our farm system graduate to the major leagues. We've still got some pretty good guys down there, but you need to keep filling that pipeline and keep it going because, like we saw in the last rebuild, it kind of dried up and we had no depth. So hopefully they can hit on those draft picks, not just in the first round, but second, third, and so on.
The one thing I forgot to actually ask Connor, and I know you're just a huge prospect. You love
prospects.
But who would you suggest to move somewhere else? Because, I mean, especially they've got a lot of good middle infielders that you could see actually, like, I don't know if they're going to be impact guys, but you can actually see them being major league players. Like Jacob Gonzalez, you and I have talked about it on it.
Yeah.
I have no idea if Jacob Gonzalez is going to be a good player, but could he be a race 4 player? Sam Montemec's another one where he's actually hitting really well, got a great hit profile, not much pop, but
not much pop.
He could be a guy that maybe he's your future guy at the top lineup.
For sure.
And actually sitting down now, well, come on. Yeah, we can sit down. Mike Downey, director of promotions, joining us live. We got him in the shop. This is live.
Oh, this is on camera. Okay.
Television. All right.
We are ready to roll.
Cool. If I read your, let's see. It's over.
I'm gonna fix the camera here a bit.
Yeah, you want me to move in or what?
Yeah, you can move over a bit. That'll help. Perfect.
I swear I wasn't internet stalking, but if I got it right, you're a fellow Marquette alum, right?
I am. Are you?
I am class 04.
Okay.
So that
I'm 2011.
2011. So now I feel even older.
I feel
Well, you got to experience Dwayne Wade then.
Yes, I did.
I'm jealous.
I actually sat behind Dwayne Wade in Western Civ.
That's
in
awesome.
the big lecture hall when it used to be. Like, I think you guys got to avoid having to sit at Varsity Theater for that. But that was. I did sit behind him his freshman year, and everybody used to have to ask him, why weren't you playing? And he was like, I'm a first qualifier. But don't worry, I'm going to make things better for. And speaking of making better, I think this might have been your best year in promotional giveaways. Did you like look at 120 losses and say, hey, I got a challenge here to really put together a heck of a promotional giveaway schedule? Because you guys, I think you knocked it out of the park. And I'm not saying that because you're willing to sit down with me. These were great.
I appreciate that.
I'm excited about the promotion today. The AM FM radio is really.
Are you guys going to get it since you came in too early?
I hope so. I don't know if we will or not, but we would appreciate that.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah.
Well, we went into this promotional giveaway because it was awesome.
I appreciate that. It well, obviously last year stunk. 121 losses.
That was absolutely brutal. There's no one in the organization who can spin it otherwise. But we knew for a couple of years that 2025 would be our 125th anniversary. So with that, I'm a huge fan of baseball history. I'm a huge fan of White Sox. My grandfather, he was born here in 1933, July 4th, 1933, 2 days before the first All-Star game at Misty Park. He was a huge history buff. He loved the White Sox, loved baseball. So it's always kind of been ingrained in me. And so with this 125th anniversary season, we honestly we really just wanted to honor the history of the White Sox. And it came at a good time, coming off 121 losses, and not a lot of, a lot of the players we didn't know if these guys would be here or not. So the brainstorming for it was really cool, really exciting. It was a lot of reaching out, getting approvals from a lot of these former players or families that we can honor them. So the whole ideation process was super fulfilling and very rewarding. It was not just me. We have a promotions committee that, representatives from all different departments of the White Sox are on, and we kind of debate and ideate and come up with these ideas, and that's how you get, the promotion schedule.
Which one is your personal favorite
Today.
Yeah.
I agree. That was mine too. That was the first one I circled on the calendar when I saw the promotions come out, which was hard to pick because they were all pretty awesome. The sweater giveaway, all very, very cool. So, what do you guys have to ask? What are you guys going to do for an encore?
It's already in the works. We're already planning. We start our planning in June, usually every year. Next year, I think, to no surprise, we've got some young, exciting players. Colson, Teal, Caro, Mydra,
Absolutely.
James Smith, Mike Vassell. So that's something that we're going to work with. It's next year is going to be really focused on the next core, the core of players going to do 2026, and so we're really excited about that. Also, some new concepts. I think across the league, I'm not going to drop any hints, but there's some cool, unique things that other teams did this year that I think we'll try to incorporate.
Okay.
So we're always just trying to change it up. This year was very history focused.
Sure. Yeah. Right. Absolutely.
For obvious reasons. I think next year is going to be really heavily focused on the current team.
And it seems like you guys also are focusing a little bit on the fan base. I don't know how much you were involved with the front of 108 Bob, but that was a cool pivot.
Yeah.
Are you guys kind of making this intentional? Like, hey, let's involve guys like us what we do because, let's build a community because you can only do so much kids can play like they did back in the 90s.
100%.
Some of that, especially how different generations are now with the team, building this community. I think this is a great idea to try to develop it. And again, I'm not saying it's it's because I think you just need ideas.
So there's a few things. So the 108 guys, I've known them since I started working here. Actually, before I even got the job at the White Sox, I followed them on Twitter. When I lived in Kansas City, I used to work for the Chiefs, and they were kind of my online connection to the White Sox.
Yeah.
So I've been a follower of them since 2015, 2016, whenever they started. So I've known them for a while. That bobblehead, it was perfect timing. They kind of did that hot tub video for us at Fest, and it performed very well on social media. Fans liked it, and just in the honor, in the essence of 125 years of White Sox history, it's a cool tie-in to add a fan bobblehead, right? The fans are the biggest part of our history, and so it's a cool way to honor them. But it wasn't just the 108 bobblehead. We had Sox on 35th and Bumps. Yeah, sorry. They helped us with Southpaws 25th. They did a big tailgate
into the bar in the commercial.
Yes, we were able to use them. We did that commercial with them, which was really fun. The tailgate they did through was awesome. So we had a ton of fun there. For Bill McKnight, we used the 108 guys and then White Sox Dave Barstool. Yeah. They did kind of like a pregame thing outside of Gate 5. So I think this year we really have been trying to incorporate you guys a lot more. These are our biggest outlets right now and biggest supporters, and so I feel very strongly that the organization should support people like you guys.
And it's one thing I want to point out, and it's not just because he's around, but something Brooks Boyer said before the season started is, marketing department, promotions department can't really do much to impact how people are going to take in at bat, throw a pitch, the result on the field, but you can control the experience at the ballpark. And you got to give a lot of credit to just sticking to that word. Yeah, right. And just really knocking him out of the park this year. And I'm not just saying that because he's me.
No, for sure. And he's right, but also at the same time, there are things like what we can do is help create the vibe in the ballpark. And I know that the players feed off that vibe. I think this year, Friday nights, especially this year, we've strategically put a lot of our heritage nights on those nights, or the big kind of vibe party type themes. And we have the City Connect. We wear the City Connect jersey, so the players feel it's like a different jersey that they wear.
Yeah,
we've had big crowds on Friday nights, cool giveaways, and I think that the vibe that fans provide on those Friday nights. I don't know what our record is on top. I feel like our whole record on Friday is pretty good.
I feel like it is too. And I said this to Connor McKnight when he was sitting with us. Is you guys have done at CHSN. You guys have done a really good job of making those Friday night games feel special. And like he put it in this perspective of like, when you got in football, you've got like Monday Night Football, that like island game. Yeah. You don't really have that in baseball, but you guys knocked it out of the park. The experience here, CHSN, all access, just phenomenal. We've never seen anything like that from the White Sox.
Good to hear. Appreciate it.
I think does Brooks really challenge you to be as creative as possible? It seems like that's the thing that he actually has been whenever he's been in charge of business and all that.
Yeah.
Is to just let's be creative as possible. I mean, it seems like there's this vibe of you got to be creative. Let's reach out to the community. Let's do all this. How much does he challenge you to be creative?
He does. And honestly, the marketing team at the White Sox, we're pretty fortunate because he really lets us just run with ideas. Sometimes there's some bad ones that we'll pump brakes on. But that's what makes this job.
Demolition night again?
No, just go demolition night again. But were you guys here on Bill McKnight?
I was not.
We did have Steve Dahl had a video that played right before the post-game fireworks show. I don't know if anyone caught it, but it was like our little ode to Disco Demolition for McKnight.
I did not catch that.
It was a cool video.
Yeah.
But no, I mean he lets us be creative and run with ideas. I mean, at the end of the day, like we get 81 home games, right? And it's the team's coming off 121 losses. We can throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. And that's what makes this job fun. Obviously, if it doesn't work, we're not going to do it again. But it allows us to really, it allows the creative juices to flow. And that's what makes this job special.
Another thing about embracing the fan community, the thing that I like about this is you guys are willing to just be like, yeah, if you're going to be critical, it's okay to be critical. Some organizations might be like, yeah, we don't want you around that. I mean, that's really neat that you are willing to, like, for me, I'm going to still be objectionable, but again, I might be like, hey, before I make this comment, should I get some context now? And that's fine. That's fine for me to admit. I mean, it seems like you guys are really embracing that it's okay to have some objection, but it's also okay to say, let's embrace these guys too, because we can all now beat this in together. We're all in this together because I want this team to be good. I don't want to sit here and complain about everything. I want to be
100%. And I've never understood that. Maybe it's an old school way of thinking, honestly. I love negative feedback. You got to know what you're doing poorly. Like I listen to these podcasts. You listen to fans on social media. We have feedback surveys that we get after every game. Like we go through every single one of them. And you want to know what we're doing wrong so we can tweak it and make it better. It's okay to be negative sometimes. Like this is sports. Like when you have passionate fans. If things are not going well, it's okay to voice those criticisms. For sure. When the moment that people stop voicing criticisms, that's when you know it's bad because people don't care.
That's when people don't care. And the other thing is baseball is 162 games. It's 6 months long. Yeah. As a fan, you can't always be positive. You can't always be negative. Yeah. You're going to go through different phases of it. So, do you feel though that the gap like you're interacting with fans and you're involved. Like, do you feel like the trust gap is starting to close between the org and fans and like bringing people back in?
I feel like we've made some strides. There's still some ways to go, in my opinion. But I do feel like this season was a good stepping stone. I feel like we kind of gained some trust back. You know,
Totally agree.
And we still have a ways to go. So I wouldn't say we're there yet. Ask me next year.
Now you said you listen into podcasts. What are your go-tos?
So I honestly don't have. I'm not a religious podcast listener.
Sure.
But I will from time to time. I'll just type in White Sox and Spotify. I'm still one of the guys who doesn't even have a premium account yet.
Okay.
Which my wife makes fun of me for. She's like, "You have ads on your Spotify." But I listened to you guys before. I listened. I obviously 108 guys. Sox Machine.
Sure.
Sox Machine's a must listen.
Yeah, they're great. And everyone does it a little different. I think that's what makes all these podcasters unique. Is like everyone kind of has their little like niche that they kind of focus on, and that's what makes it fun.
And so the bosses, we all play next to the same box. I gotta tell them,
Yes. Yeah.
listen to me first every day. All that stuff and stuff. But that type of thing. You were saying that today's giveaways from your favorite.
Yeah.
What went into saying, hey, we've got to do something with Old Comiskey? Because Old Comiskey means a lot to me because that was the first ballpark I ever went to just to hate myself. In 1989, I watched the Yankees beat the White Sox. It actually snowed in April, and that type of stuff. Yeah. What went into saying, hey, let's do something with Old Comiskey?
So, how the promo schedule worked is every Saturday we focused on a different decade. So, like one moment or player or whatever per decade, starting in 1900, going through the 2005 White Sox. For the 50s, I was looking through a history, and obviously we had the 59 World Series.
Yep.
Over the past couple of years, from a promotional standpoint, we did like a crew neck giveaway with like a cool 50s retro logo on it.
Yeah.
Like we've kind of done Go White Sox a lot.
Sure. Yeah.
So I didn't want to just do that. I didn't want to just rinse and repeat an item that we've done in the last 6-7 years. So I just got me thinking, like, what was life like in 1959? And I was thinking, well, my grandpa. My grandpa at the time would have been 26 in law school, and I'm thinking, like, what did he do if he wasn't at the game?
Listening to it on the radio.
Probably listening to it on the radio. And so it just kind of got me thinking, like, man, I've never seen anyone give away a radio. I don't even know if it's possible, but that would be kind of cool. I have a cool twist on like a stadium giveaway. Every team has done replica stadium giveaways.
Sure.
They're cool mantelpieces, but like, how do you take it to the next level? We reached out to some of our vendors, and they were like, yeah, it's really expensive, but like, we could probably do it.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's only $10,000, but it's a super expensive giveaway. But I don't even know if Brooks or Jerry knows how expensive it is, but so don't tell them.
That's when you hide the expense.
Exactly. Yeah. But I think that I saw the lines today. The attendance was good. It stunk that we had to move it. Because it's so unique. Because no one has. The vendor had to make a custom radio. It's a really small radio.
Yeah.
So that's why there's some production issues that we need a little more time. But no, at the end of the day, it was just what's something, how do you recreate some of the magic of old time baseball? And I think listening on the radio was something that was what baseball was for 70 years, right? 80 years. And so it's kind of like that nostalgic. I mean, like showing fans like what it was like back then. And I think as with AI and social media and like how fans interact with sports right now, I mean, it's just radio hopefully never goes away, but it's whether you like it or not, it's a thing of the past.
And we've got a phenomenal radio crew with Len and DJ.
Yeah.
They're fantastic. I love listening to them on the radio when I'm in my car.
Yeah.
And they're phenomenal. So that goes,
And so
that makes it even enhances the whole experience.
Exactly. More. And so you can have this thing in your office, your garage, wherever you want it, in your living room, listening to Len and DJ. It's just cool. It's just once you see it and listen to it, you'll feel the nostalgia.
I'm excited.
what off-season plans do you guys have? Do we have Sox Fest maybe again? At the I thought that was cool. Ramova, a little bit more intimate feeling. Is there any ideas in the works on that, like maybe stuff like that?
Yeah, we'll have the Sox Fest again. They're still working out details, so I don't have anything to comment right now, but there will be one. Just more details to come.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
What do you guys want to see next year? Like, what would you get?
Oh, that's good. Well, I mean, t-shirt giveaways are always the best.
Yeah.
Bobbleheads. I mean, you can never go wrong with that. I mean, definitely the bobblehead for the others. Guys, I'm sure that's in here. I think that would be great for the throwbacks. But yeah, definitely, you can never go wrong with t-shirts. And you can never go wrong with bobbleheads. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, you can never go wrong with that stuff, but like doing this, would be super cool. I know this is you guys are this is like a trial run for you guys, but this would be fantastic. Have another thing like that.
It seems like it's worked out pretty great.
It seems like we had a great interview with you, Connor McKnight. He was fantastic. So yeah, I mean that. Jerseys, hats. I mean, we love all that stuff.
Harrelson bobblehead maybe with all his great calls. Because about that.
We actually had a cool item that got canceled due to COVID. We had a microphone that if you pressed it, you would say like Hawkisms, and we had like 10 of them. And it was, I think he won like the Ford Frick Award in 2019, something like that. Yeah. So it was supposed to be a 2020 giveaway. And for whatever reason, I can't remember why, but I think maybe it was one of those ones that we didn't produce. Like there's some items that we produced for 2020 that were just in storage for a year. I think the Hawk one, I think I have the only sample. It's at my desk, but we never like produced it. And I think it just got punted for some reason. But it was a cool giveaway because it was exactly that. Maybe not the bobblehead, but a cool microphone.
That would actually be awesome. Or the bottle opener that makes.
Oh yeah.
I had one of those. Anything Hawk related will do well. Obviously we love Hawk, so
yeah.
It's awesome. Well, Mike, we appreciate you stopping by. Thank you for the time.
Thanks for having me. Yeah,
thanks.
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Do it again sometime.
Absolutely.
All right, have fun. And let me know if you don't get the rating. I'll make sure you get that.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more on Locked On White Sox.
Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. When you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. And that's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. And Monarch is built for people with busy lives. And if you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you, too. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. And I love Monarch Money to monitor my 401k and Roth IRA accounts. As you know, I would like to retire before I say turn 70, and my wife loves using Monarch Money because it makes doing the budget so easy and less stressful. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB.
Welcome back to Locked On White Sox. Actually, I'm going to have Elijah sit down. You sit down. Why is that just baseball?
I just asked him about Jairo Iriarte. I was kind of curious because Todd just wrote an article about him. Things aren't looking good. He did crack into the big leagues last year. He pitched well. Looked like he was struggling as a starter. They moved him to the bullpen. Tell us the rest.
Well, it's just the mechanics are off. He looks like he's flying open. The fastball's it's like a 50% strike rate on the fastball. I mean, it just, for a guy with loud stuff coming up as a young guy, it's 2 years now of just doesn't look right. He doesn't look right, honestly. I'm curious to see what happens. But, I mean, obviously he's not a starter. He's definitely a bullpen guy at best. And he goes into next year and you try to just, revamp the arsenal, tune things up, and see if it can click. And, sometimes those guys as bullpen guys click, right? You can always see a bullpen guy like that totally find it, and then he looks great. But you could also see him never be a big league piece. Yeah.
So is he going to be a future Sox, in your opinion, top 30?
Probably not. I think he's, if anything, he's very, very back of it. But I don't have him top 30.
Well, I think they're kicking us
Yeah,
out.
I think they are.
So
You guys have fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
Are you staying for the game?
Yeah, we'll be around.
All right, we're going to be sitting together watching the game. Hopefully, you guys, last minute, go get some tickets. Come down. Bears, again, they don't play till 3:30.
They don't play till 3:30.
I don't know if they're going to win, but this will be fun. Last game of the season. Bez, I really appreciate you coming.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to go watch. We're going to go watch some baseball, and I'll be back tomorrow with the Minor League Monday report and more of our show. Thank you for joining us for this special live edition of Locked On White Sox.
Success. Great success. Great success.